In the very beginning we observe a busy night in Misaki City. Some magical force then appears, and it shuts down the electronics around the city. Then a huge black dome appears, and inside of it, there is a man walking. He has a sword in his hands, and he walks towards a floating scarf. The scarf then turns into a man wearing a white suit, and the man with the sword goes into battle mode, ready to attack him. The man in the suit pulls out his gun, and shoots the other guy, who then disappears in a green explosion. There is an evil lurking in this world, but humans do not see it. Evil beings called Crimson Denizens regularly come to our world to harvest the power of existence, which is a human life force. In other words, they feast on human lives. Then we meet Sakai, who is an ordinary teen boy, living a normal teen life. After school he visits the local shop, and there he stumbles upon two girls from his school. One of the girls, called Yukari, wants to have a chat with Sakai. She inquires about his friend from school, and Sakai notices she obviously has a crush on his friend. They say goodbye to each other, but then something weird starts to happen. Everything around Sakai suddenly changes in seconds. Everyone but Sakai freezes in place. But it does not stop there. A huge monster appears, and it talks like a baby. There is another creature next to it, and it looks like a ball made of doll heads. The creatures talk to each other as they are sucking blue light out of people, who cannot move and have no idea what is going on. The baby-like monster says there are so many and that they are so tasty, and we watch how it continues to suck the energy from people. Sakai then talks, which catches the creature's attention. They wonder how he can see them and why he isn't frozen. The ball says he must be Mistis, and it says he probably has a unique treasure tool inside him. As he watches them in horror, the big one grabs him and tells him its master will be pleased with the gift from Sakai. It tries to devour him just like the others, but something cuts its hand. We see a girl holding a katana, as the monster screams in agony. The girl attacks the ball and proceeds to attack the big baby. She slices the baby's head off, but it was only a shell. Whatever was inside, now is gone. She takes a look at the boy. She wonders how he can see her and thinks he must be Mistis. She cuts his hand off with her katana, and some lady reveals herself inside of him. It is a creature that possessed that big baby, and then got into the boy. The creature then reveals its true form, which is a little doll. The doll escapes to its master before it gets sliced into pieces. Sakai is in shock, and wonders why he is not bleeding. The girl then puts his hand back in and tells him to stop crying, because he is not human anymore. He then bursts in flames and has his hand back. The girl talks to her talisman called Alistair, who says this boy must be special, and he also mentions something about a powerful treasure tool inside of him. Sakai stops them and tells them he is human and not some treasure box, but they ignore him. The girl then points her hand towards the sky and brings back all those people who got eaten by the monsters, and she fixes the streets. When she is done, everything is back to normal again, and she goes her way. Sakai follows her and inquires about this crazy thing that just happened. To get rid of him, the girl tells him the truth. She says she is a flame haze, and she fights evil entities from the Crimson Realm. She talks about the entities called Rina that feast on the power of existence, which is basically a human life form. Those entities have a master who is a Crimson Lord. When they suck life from humans, they cease to exist. That creates a strong imbalance, so she then replaces the deceased with torches. The torch is a flame that represents the remains of a deceased person, and it gradually fades away. When it disappears, the person is forever lost in this world. She tells him he is dead as well, and Sakai then notices that he now has a torch as well. In the other realm, we see a Crimson Lord called Frianya as he talks to that evil little doll. She apologizes because she failed her mission, but he thanks her for discovering a unique Mistis for him. He then looks at a model of the city with little torches inside. He tells us that his mega plan will soon be ready, and that no one will stop him. He tells the doll called Marianne he will release her from this terrible doll form, and that she will walk our world free as a bird. He tells her he is doing all of this for her. Soon he will gather all the torches he needs for his evil plan. We also see how he has many dolls in his room. Frianya is a very powerful Crimson Lord who can bring dolls to life. That way he uses them as a weapon, together with many of the treasure tools he uses to fight fire haze, like that gun we saw in the beginning. In the morning, Sakai wakes up still confused about the recent events. He looks at his mom and she looks normal. She has no torch, meaning she is still alive. He exits his house and there is that girl again. She explains to him that he possesses a very powerful treasure tool that the Crimson Lord surely wants for himself, so she is here to protect him. Sakai then sees Yukari and notices her torch is very weak. He instantly feels sorry for her and wants to make her short stay in this world as pleasant as possible. At school, he tries to arrange for her a meeting with his friend, whom she has a crush on. Then they go out to have some fun, but his friend thinks he is acting strange and does not care about Yukari. They go to a photo booth to take some pictures, and then go to play some video games. Sakai's friend decides to play some video games alone, and Yukari walks away. Sakai inquires about Yukari's whereabouts, but his friend has no clue she even left. He goes out to look for her, and finds her sitting alone looking at the sunset. He has a short talk with her, but she is very silent. Since he saw her that day, she almost hasn't said a word. She looks like she no longer has a soul. Her little flame then shuts down, and she disappears into the air. That photo they previously took loses Yukari, as if she never existed. Sakai feels enormous guilt, thinking all of this is because of him, and he talks to his protector. She has no remorse. She thinks torches are things and that they are not living beings. Sakai then asks her about her name, and she tells him she does not have one. She reveals to him that her sword is called Shana, and Sakai decides that for now on, that will be her name. The next day Sakai goes to school, and he notices Shana sitting at Yukari's place. He asks her what is she doing and she replies that she is Yukari now. It is all because she needs to be close to him to protect him. His friends arrive and even greet her as Yukari, which makes things even more strange. She says she absorbed the remains of Yukari, and now everyone thinks she is Yukari, and only Sakai can see her true Shana form. Then reality suddenly shifts once again. The Crimson denizens arrive and everyone freezes in place. A magic card appears and Shana attacks it, but it is only a trap that explodes. Crimson Lord then appears together with his beloved Marianne. He introduces himself to Shana and tells her he heard she is a powerful flame haze. He then talks to her talisman Alistair and says how it is a shame that all his powers are lost to this girl. He mentions a contract between Alistair and Shana, and says Alistair was such a powerful Crimson Lord once, and now he is trapped inside the talisman. Frianya then states how they will meet again, but now it is not a time for a fierce fight. That evening Shana is seen sitting on the roof of Sakai's house. It is raining outside, but she must be close to him to protect him. Sakai then appears and Alistair asks him how he found them. Sakai says how he simply has a feeling, and that he can literally sense them. Both Shana and Alistair agree that this is very strange. They go inside to Sakai's room, and he shows Shana his bed. He tells her he will sleep downstairs, but she says they must be close. Shana then changes her wet clothes, and Sakai hides inside the closet because she does not want him to stare at her as she changes clothes. In the closet he accidentally steps on something sharp and breaks through the closet. Shana covers herself and instantly becomes furious. Somewhere in the city we see a woman standing on a building. Her name is Marjorie, and she checks the surroundings while she talks to her book. She is also a flame haze, and her book is just like Alistair but only in a different shape. She talks to the book and says how it is very strange that this city has so many torches. Marjorie further states that this must be the work of a powerful Crimson Lord, and that she must find a way to lure him into this world so she could kill him. The following morning Sakai decides to move away from the city. He does not want to put anyone in danger anymore. Shana notices how his flame is not fading, but it is actually getting stronger. Alistair agrees with her that Sakai obviously has a treasure tool nobody has seen in ages. As they walk through the city Sakai notices how the torches are beating like a human heart. They pulsate but only he can see that. Suddenly they notice an unrestricted spell. It destroys the torches, and we can see how people vanish all over the place. Frianya is also looking at his model of the city, and notices his torches are slowly disappearing one by one, which makes him very angry. It seems like he needs those torches Shana has created for something sinister. Shana then locates the source of the spell. Marjorie is to blame for this one. The two of them have a talk and Sakai joins them. Marjorie is shocked because he can see them, and looks at his torch, which is unusually strong. The boy is very mad at the lady because she just killed all those torches, but she does not care. Then out of nowhere, Frianya appears. He says it's unusual to see two fire haze at the same place, and tells them their end is near. A huge black dome is then formed, and everyone is getting ready to fight. Marjorie transforms into a blue monster and attacks Frianya together with Shana, but they do not even scratch him. He shows them his ring, which is a powerful treasure tool that allows him to deflect any flame haze attack. He is literally immune to all attacks from flame haze. This is why the boy is very important to him. Treasure tools can be very useful in his fight against flame haze, and Sakai holds a unique one. The Crimson Lord then uses another treasure tool. He uses a magical ring that extends and wraps itself around Shana's katana. He also brings his dolls to life and they attack the blue beast. Shana cannot release herself from Frianya's restraints, so she wants to stab him while he holds her. As she was rushing towards him, he rings a bell. Yet another treasure tool then detonates the dolls near Shana. He defeats both girls and kidnaps Sakai. Before he leaves, he says they can have him back if they meet him at the highest building in the town that evening. Before the great battle, we see Shana thinking about everything that might happen in the next couple of hours. Next to her is Marjorie, who does not want to think too much about it, and she simply drinks some alcohol to relax her nerves. The evening comes, and we see how Frianya has set up a real battleground. The area is encircled by his dolls, which can be turned into a weapon at any time. Frianya approaches Sakai and tells him a little story about what is going to happen. He says that Shana has an extremely powerful Crimson Lord in her possession. Alistair was once evil just like Frianya, but he was incredibly powerful. He was a fire demon, and he could crush anything with his powers in a matter of seconds. He says that he will kill Shana with his gun, which is his most powerful treasure tool, which instantly kills any fire haze. Then the real Alistair will be released, and it will bring chaos into this world. He says how Shana trapped him when she defeated him. They made a contract which says how Alistair will remain alive but under Shana's control. The girls then arrive and they attack the Crimson Lord. They must be careful because one bullet from the Lord means instant death. He also brings his dolls to life, which makes the situation only worse for the girls. They fight him the best they can, and he gently rings the bell that once again blows up the area. Sakai is also thrown by the explosion, and he ends up on the fence. He looks at the city and sees torches all over the place. He then comes to the conclusion that Frianya's bell actually affects the torches somehow. The torches then start to rise, and people disappear around the city. Then they realize that this was Frianya's master plan all along. He is casting a massive ancient spell that will devour the whole city. Each and every living soul in the city will be gone when he is done with the spell. He will turn an entire city into a pure power of existence, and then he will simply absorb it. Shana and Marjorie do their best to stop him, but he is simply too powerful with all those treasure tools around. The girls stand in front of him, and he aims his gun at them, thinking how to kill them both. Marianne then arrives and tells him she will do it for him. She attacks Shana and captures her with a treasure tool. She then gives the signal to Frianya to blow her up. He hesitates for a second but detonates Marianne anyway. Shana is thrown away and she is injured. The Crimson Lord comes to her and tells her this is the end of the road for her, and he fires his gun. Shana falls down the building in flames, and starts to transform into a demon. Alistair is on the loose, and it takes its real form. Moments later we see Alistair in his demon form looking down on Frianya, who tells the demon to destroy the whole city. Alistair speaks and shocks Frianya with his words. He tells him that Shana is so powerful that she can control him even now. He says he would never have entered into a contract with someone who was not extremely strong. Frianya watches in disbelief as the huge demon burns the roof of the building, killing Frianya on sight. Sakai wakes up and there is Shana next to him. She is alive and Alistair is back in his talisman. Sakai looks at her and they exchange kind words before he starts to disappear. His flame is now weak, and he only has seconds left in this world. He opens his eyes again and notices Shana is smiling at him. He is completely lost and thinks this is all a dream. She then explains how his unique treasure tool allows him to revive his torch every single day at midnight. This means he will never vanish, and he can live a normal life as a torch just like he would as a human. They then hold their hands and look at the city they just saved from annihilation. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.